Welcome to Bourbon Tasteoff, playoff brackets of the best whiskeys. Join us in our season-long quest to find our tastiest bourbon. Hello, thank you for joining us on Bourbon Tasteoffs. This is episode 9. We are your hosts, Todd, Dan, Josh, and Tyler. And on today's episode, we have ryes. So we are going to match up some ryes together and find out which one comes out on top. And we're about to find out what is going to go against what. All right, so now we're going to find out what is going to go against number 1. And Tyler, you picked last time. We'll move it over to Dan. So Dan will pick a number. I already see, looking over at Dan's glasses, so number 2 is going to go against number 1.
Perfect.
What do you have your hand on right there? That is the darkest one in the group, just by looking over.
4.
Okay, so 4 is the darkest. But we don't need to worry about 4 right now. We're going to go 1 against 2. And then 3 against 4. So I got to taste 1. And I know that out of the options, I think there's like a Whistlepig 12, 10, Knob Creek 7, Jim Beam, Rye. I mean, there's all across the board. So I know there's one that I just don't like in the mix. And I'm trying to decide if this is it. I don't know. But then again, I mean, I know I enjoy ryes, and it's given, like, after the punch, it gives a little bit of sweetness to me.
For 1, you're talking?
For 1, yeah. I don't know if anybody else agrees with that or what. Am I on my own here?
You're not on your own. Actually, I like 1. A little, just like the flavor, like the spice, like the heat. Liked it.
Yeah.
Dan's over there stewing.
Yeah, this is going to be a difficult tasting for Dan, I think.
I think it's pretty clear that I'm not the... It is exactly what it is. It has really good flavor. It just leaves me with that cinnamon flavor on the back of my tongue that I'm not a fan of. Because when I first had number 1, I was like, oh, this isn't bad. Maybe it's just a high rye. It's just 51, 52% into that rye category. And then it just kept that heat on the back of my tongue, that cinnamon red hot or hot tamale, big red gum just kind of kept tingling there. And that's the one flavor I just don't like in bourbons.
Okay.
That was 1. 2 definitely has a totally different profile.
Yeah, I haven't even gotten there yet.
I've gotten it too.
Yeah, 2's got
Very
something different going on. It doesn't have all that cinnamon.
It's very earthy. 2.
That isn't the word I would use, but I like how that changes the words we're using because it is something very different.
You've brought up Big Red before. This to me is Big Red. Like on the back of the tongue.
Number 2?
2?
Yeah.
2 is Big Red to me. Like 1 does seem like, to me, a little more mellow.
You're right. 2 is big red gum.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
I do have a winner. Not to let the cat out of the bag. And I won't share. But are you guys kind of still thinking, or did it? For me, it popped up right away.
They're very different.
Right.
When they're so different, that's hard for me.
Yeah, and all of these, to be a rye whiskey, needs to be over 51% rye. So none of these are like bourbons where it's like just a rye added to the high corn percentage. These are all going to be over 51% rye. I do have a winner as well.
Where are you landing, Tyler? Do you have a winner?
My choice?
Oh, no.
I do have a winner.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Dan? Still thinking? Stewing?
And we have not discussed on this episode how we're going to break a tiebreaker, so, but we're going to be honest with it. I'm actually going to give myself a point level on 1 and 2, just to help. Maybe if there is a tiebreaker, we can.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah.
Out of 10 or out of 100?
Out of 100. Should we do it out of 10?
100's fine.
I mean, it might take a lot of time to just add things up.
It's only if it's a tie, right? It's only if it's a tie.
Yeah, only if
right?
it's a tie.
Yeah.
So
I will say that I had some trepidation going into this rye situation. There's no getting around. I'm not a fan. They're not as bad as I thought.
Oh, okay.
So it's got some. The original, the drink, the mouthfeel is all good. It's just that end cinnamon bite that I'm not a fan of. It's still in my mouth right now.
Yeah.
But it's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, if I come over here and you offer me this, I'm not saying, no, I don't want it. You know, it's like custard. I prefer, the vanilla, but if you only have chocolate, I'll still eat it.
So out of these, and based on a previous episode when we had like the new or the single malt, what would you pick? Would you pick a rye over a single malt, or would you pick a single malt over?
Those American single malts, I would say I would pick a rye. I would
Okay.
pick over rye over the single malts. I remember, which was the single malt that I did not like at all?
That was the New Riff,
Was it the New Riff?
Balboa,
Oh, the sour. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
or not Balboa.
That was the New Riff sour.
Yeah, sour mash.
Okay. Yeah. I would pick the ryes.
Okay,
I have see it. I'm the person who likes these the least,
sure.
and maybe I'll get better at it. I picked one. It had the least amount of cinnamon. Two had definitely. My tongue still says, "Are you sucking on a hot tamale right now?" Yeah.
Tyler, you want to go next?
I actually like 2 over 1.
Okay.
So, but I don't have any ryes. I got 20 bottles of bourbon. Not one's a rye. I don't know what to like, but I drank more of the 2. I like the taste. I like Big Red. So maybe
There you
that's
go.
why. I mean,
Yeah. You might be a rye guy then.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you don't know what to like, there's no right or wrong anyway. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting. So have you, after tasting the first 2, is it something that you would think you would want to experiment more with?
Yeah.
Or is it something you'd rather just leave away and just do just bourbons and things
I
like
mean, yeah, I probably wouldn't have a glass every single night, but like Dan said, if you poured it, I'd drink it and I wouldn't be mad.
that? Okay.
I mean,
But in the bottle stashes you have at home, is it something do you think you would lok to buy ryes or no? So far. I mean, we still have 2 to go.
I would, yeah. If I saw it's a good price, good reviews or whatever, I'd probably consider it.
Okay.
I'm so anti-rye. I don't think I have a rye at home, and I have a lot of bottles.
Yeah, no, it's apparent because obviously when you taste a rye, you're like, this is so different. When it was like a blind, a double blind, you were like, this is so unique, so different.
And even
because
when it's not a rye, even if it's a higher rye, like say it's 45,
Sure.
it's just or something like that, it's just 51% corn. I'll notice that even. I'm trying to think if I even have rye at home. I don't think I do. Because I've had enough experience to go, that's just not. I probably should have some just for when people come over. You want a rye?
Yeah.
You want a rye?
me personally, I'm a fan of ryes. Like I like ryes. I'm gonna split this up. I'm gonna pick number 1. So I agree with Dan. So it gives Josh a chance to either find a way to. We're gonna need find a tiebreaker, or not, because right now Dan and I are in step with each other, and then Tyler picked 2 because he likes the Big Red gum flavor.
So no tiebreaker needed. I picked number 1 as well.
Okay.
And for me, it was actually a pretty easy choice.
Yeah.
Tasted number 2, not a fan. Walked away from it. I was like, I don't need this. But then kept going back to number 1, and I really liked number 1.
Yeah.
So
I agree. Dan, are you sure you didn't break that glass? You don't have to worry about like jagged edges when you
No.
drink the next one?
No,
Okay.
it was the bottom tap.
Perfect. I worry about safety. I'm on the safety committee, at work, so.
Right.
Cheers to myself.
Right.
Cheers.
Right.
All right, so we have a winner. 1 will advance, 2 stays back. We're going to move over to 3 and 4. Josh, what are your feelings about ryes? How do you feel about them? Do you stay away from them? Do you find them intriguing, enjoyable?
it's I don't know. Guess on how I'm feeling or what I'm tasting for the day. One of my favorite bottles for many years was the New Riff Rye, and just love that. I would drink that.
I do
a ton.
too. I like
And
that
then
one.
one of the ones, the Whistle Pig 12, which is a good rye, is another bottle which I've always loved. So there's a couple ryes out there that I really really enjoy. So yeah, I'm a fan.
Okay. Wow. Anybody try 3 yet?
Yep. It's a rye.
Yeah, I'm.
What did rye ever do to you? Run to a rye field someday? No, I'm just kidding, Dan.
Rye bread build it.
I like rye bread.
Yeah.
I also like rye bread.
Yeah.
It's great with
Butter
fried
on it?
fish fry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Or a patty melt.
It's not the rye. It's the heat that comes with the rye. It's that cinnamon flavor.
This one seems really mellowed. This one seems like it's been aged for a while to me. Like you can taste the rye, but then it really, if you really dig into the flavors, you can. I think wood comes out of it much more than the rye does, to me. And we do have some longer age stated options in this lineup, and I might be totally wrong, but what I'm getting is a little bit more age with it, a little more wood.
Yeah, I also wrote down mellow for 3.
Yeah,
But I think it's mellow as compared to 1.
and 2.
Right, yep.
Yeah.
Of the two of them, 3 and 4, 3 tastes like a higher rye to me. It's definitely got more pop on the tongue than 4. 4 tastes pretty muted. But I can appreciate 3's complexity because there's a whole lot of other flavors going on there. Even though it's hitting my tongue with more rye that I don't normally appreciate, I think it's got more overall going on. 4 seems a little bland to me.
Yeah,
I get that wood taste on 3 though.
I do
I
too.
know what you're saying.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like 4 is just a younger version of 3.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point.
That's kind of what I'm getting. And it'll be really super interesting to see if that's fact or if I'm just totally wrong.
Yeah, I'm a little bit different. I think I like. I think 4 seems.
Peppermint. I'm getting like a peppermint on 4.
Yeah, but I kind of like it a little.
Yeah.
bit.
No, I mean, peppermint's enjoyable. I mean, the reason they make gum in a peppermint flavor is because people enjoy it. But to go back, like to 2,
Like a York peppermint patty?
No, I never said peppermint. That's this guy over here.
Is that what when you're saying?
I'm kind of going
peppermint?
off of that.
Yeah.
Like cinnamon seems to be a big part of what 2 was, and you said like ryes seem to be really like cinnamon, and I agree. But 4, that rye translates into more of a peppermint to me. Like I can picture just taking a leaf of peppermint and just like
Peppermint patty.
yeah.
Is it frozen peppermint patty? though?
Yeah,
Right.
I don't know if I'm getting the chocolate like you would have on a peppermint patty.
So you see yourself on a ski hill right now?
No, I'm just saying if you took a leaf,
Oh, just a leaf. So
and
not
just-
a peppermint patty.
not a
Just
peppermint patty, not the chocolate part of it.
the creamy nougat.
Oh, the places we can go. Dr. Seuss, right?
Yeah, it's a good book. Yeah, I just read that the other night.
Wow.
Is a peppermint patty Dr. Seuss?
All the places you'll go.
Oh, the place you would go.
Actually, now I kind of do taste a little bit of chocolate with it too.
Career.
Maybe
Thinking
it's
it. You're manifesting.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're
you're
totally
right.
manifesting
Yeah,
this
I am.
like
I picture you on a ski slope. now.
yeah. Do you?
Yeah.
Here I go.
Peppermint patty.
Yeah. Right.
It's the next commercial.
Right.
Yeah. This is. This is one that's like comes down to what your preference is then.
I have a winner.
Tough choice for me.
Yeah. I chose one.
Before you got here, Ty, we talked about having a little social gathering and taking the podcast on the road. And Ty's been at my house before. Do you think it's a good idea to take it on the road to get a bigger perspective, have people come and sit down with us as they're socializing and having a little bit bigger group, a little bit more social group for a podcast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how many podcasts do that now? You know, go to, well, you've talked about going to like a cigar bar.
Right.
I mean, I think it's a good break of what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then just, you know, it doesn't have to be every time, obviously, but it's a nice little.
I actually have an idea for a pairing too that I've been wanting to do for a while.
Nice.
That the only issue is it may be more than 4 swigs. It may be 7. So,
Well, that's gonna be a tough sell when the whole premise of this is taste-offs.
right. We could break it into 2.
Maybe pick your top 2 of them.
Yeah. And we could still stay to our 4 and
Sure.
just let the other, bring maybe the group could bring the consensus of their 4 to us.
We could break it down from 8.
Right.
We could do it.
Right. Maybe the separate group would bring it 4 to the table.
Sure.
These are the 4 that I want to bring against the the taste off. We'll figure the details out.
Yeah. No, I like the idea of actually expanding the brackets. Like if we actually go from 8 down to 1,
Right.
that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
March Madness.
Yeah, exactly. That's coming up.
I just seen a podcast that's doing the top 16.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they each brought 8, and they're pairing them off as a Sweet 16 kind of situation.
Alrighty. Well,
That's interesting.
I think we got a pick, huh?
Yeah, we do.
Dan, you knew what you wanted.
3.
Okay.
3, even though it has that real strong cinnamon, I think there's a lot going on with the bourbon itself. I picked 3, and I almost hesitate to say I like it. Yeah.
You feel bad for saying you like a rye? Are you
It's
stuck,
got that cinnamon
are you
flavor.
stuck in your own stubborn attitude as
I'm
far
in.
as
I'm
I only want to like something, and if I say I don't like something, I'm gonna stick to.
Well, you sound a lot like my wife right now, Todd. This isn't so much fun anymore.
Well, then she'll appreciate that she has.
She'll be like, "See, I told you."
Yeah. I'm starting to really like Todd.
I'm not the only one that sees this. Yeah, three's a really good bourbon. It really is. It's got a lot going on. I just wish it didn't have that cinnamon flavor at the end. But 3's good. 3's a good bourbon. I'm sure when we find out what it is, it'll be a high quality product. It just has too much rye for me. But 3.
Okay.
3 is my pick.
We'll go this way this time. Last time we went kind of this way, so we'll go to Josh.
You know, I'm going to be honest. I am still having a difficult time picking between 3 and 4.
They're so different.
So
It's just your preference.
I'm actually
really.
going to do a no vote and allow the two
Ah,
of you to decide where we land.
that's awfully big of you.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. He's like, he doesn't have the ego. He's like, I really want people to understand my point of view, but he's like, no, I'll let you guys choose, and that is big of you, Josh.
That's what it is. Others might call it indecisive.
No, but I think it should be commented on that it's like, I'll stand back and I'm fine with whatever people pick, because to me, like either one I'm fine with, and I
Exactly.
I like that. I'm sorry, Tyler. It's not going to matter what you choose because I'm picking 3 as well.
Oh, I was picking 3 too.
Okay, perfect. Then it does matter.
Yeah.
It's unanimous. So 3 is going to move on. So no peppermint patty in this little tasting.
Alrighty, do we want to bring out 2 and 4?
We do. All right, so we just brought the bottles back, and so 1 was against 2, and 2 lost to 1. So we have Whistle Pig single barrel rye. It's aged 10 years. So not only is it an old age statement, it's also a single barrel. And Whistle Pig is really well known for just their quality of product. So that's impressive. So whatever 1 is.
Does Whistle Pig do a lot of rye? It seems like every time I see a Whistle Pig, it's like a rye.
As far as I know, everything they do is a rye. Other than so Whistle Pig came out with like a Piggyback 6 year, and then they also made a piggyback 6-year bourbon that's not a rye. So they are starting to try to venture out into not strictly ryes. But yes, you are correct.
Okay.
Whenever you hear Whistle Pig, people would be like, that's a rye. Yeah.
And they're from Vermont?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yep. So that is what lost to number 1. That's the Whistle Pig 10-year. And then,
So that was 117 proof, 58% alcohol.
oh, that's
It's a little bit higher. And
that's higher than I would have thought it was too.
it did seem high when we
Yeah.
tasted it, right? Yeah, not a lot
That's
of
interesting. I did
other-
not think it was that high. Apparently, yeah, it was. And then number 4, which was more of a peppermint patty, I guess, is a Crown Royal Noble Collection. It's a blended Canadian whiskey, and it's aged 16 years. So this one's aged much longer than everything else. I mean, there was a 12-year option in there with Whistle Pig, but we have no idea if that's in this mix. So the 16-year also lost, though. I mean, it's a Canadian whiskey. It's blended. That's a single. The Whistle Pig was a single barrel, and the Crown Royal was a blend. So maybe it lost to another single barrel. We have no idea yet.
And 45% alcohol. So this was substantially less.
Oh,
than the
much
other one.
less. Yeah, that's a 90 proof then.
Right.
So if it's a blended whiskey, they got to make sure that all the blends in there are at least 51%. Is that
No, the age statement is what needs to be a minimum. So the youngest age statement has to be 16 years in this blend to be called a 16 year.
yeah, but why is it called a rye?
Because the percentage of rye in the blends has to be over 51%.
All of them?
All of them.
Okay. So
Yeah.
all of the blends, okay.
All of the blends have to be over 51%. Correct. Yeah. Otherwise, it's just a whiskey blend. Like their whiskey blend, their normal Crown Royal is still a blend of whiskeys, and yeah, it's not a rye because the percentage is not over 51%. So that's interesting. Those are some pretty good quality selections there. I know the Whistle Pig is probably around $110 for a 10-year, and I'm thinking the 16-year Crown Royal is right up there with it, about the same price. So we're looking at some kind of higher price points, losing out to whatever these are. And I'm really curious and interested in finding out what beats that.
I don't have a Whistle Pig in my collection of bourbon at home.
Right, because you don't have any ryes.
Right.
Yeah.
Not a single one.
That's unfortunate because Whistle Pig is a very good quality product. But again, if you're not a fan of ryes, why pick it up? So I agree with that as well. So we're going to move on to tasting the champions, finding out which one takes the best rye of our options or this episode. I'm going to go back to 1. I'm going to taste that one again.
Are you okay over there?
No.
You're giving ryes a bad rap. It is not that bad. I think ryes are delicious.
I do too.
Yeah,
I think they're better with an ice cube though.
that's a good point.
That, just you taste it, then you taste it again, you taste it again. So,
Yeah.
and my buddy who loves ryes, he'll do rye on the rocks with a splash of water. So it kind of
Oh, wow. Okay.
taking a little bit of that punch that Dan, or the Big Red, a little bit away, and
But does that defeat the whole purpose if I've got to add 3 ice cubes and a splash of water?
fair. But like that allows people to take it really hot, neat, or kind of take it to a point that they would like it.
But doesn't the water open the notes more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does, yeah.
No, that is what they say.
So it takes the heat off, but it opens the flavor.
Right.
Essentially.
Yeah, essentially, if you're starting out with a lower proof and it's been watered down already, like it's almost like I associate it with we're all from Wisconsin. We deal with the cold. It's like I prefer like working in the cold because I can always add more layers.
Right, yeah.
Whereas like with bourbon and rye, you can always water it down to your preference.
Yeah.
But you can never add more alcohol
Yeah.
if you think it's a little weak to start with, you
That's
know.
a good point. Yeah.
So that's why I kind of like the higher proof points because I can make it right for me
Right.
by adding water.
Yeah.
But yeah, good point.
So I picked mine.
So did I.
Dang it. Yeah, I think I picked mine.
It was 1 and 3, right?
Yeah. I only say dang it because I didn't want one of them to lose. Like I know I initially started talking about one as being like, I don't know if it's a good quality or if it's a low quality.
Mm-hmm.
But then as I drank it more, I was like, oh, I really enjoy this though. So I say dang it only because I don't want one of them to lose. But obviously we have to make a decision.
Yeah.
So I'll just start out then, since I probably like let in with like a preference. I'm gonna pick number 3. I thought number 3, it's got the rye, which I enjoy. Obviously, if you've been listening, you know what I enjoy. But also, it has to me some wood, some different complexity characteristics to it. It does bring out sweetness. I mean, wood is often contributed to bringing out like caramels and brown sugar notes and stuff, and I think that's what's added to this rye to me, and so I picked 3.
Well, I'll go then. I picked 1. So we're on the opposite side. I picked 1 because it just seemed like a more complete bourbon to me, which may be the opposite of what you're saying. It just seemed like it wasn't overpowering me with the rye heat. So I picked 1.
All right, I'll go and then let our newcomer.
Yeah.
So I also picked 1. I like the spiciness. Yeah, 3. I just like I said before, I was 3 and 4. I was like, whatever. And I coming back to 1, I was like, yep, I know why I like this. So I like the spicy, like the completeness. It doesn't have a weird aftertaste. So I really like number 1.
I like that you said there about the aftertaste. I think that's a pretty consistent theme for me on stuff with aftertaste. I'm not a fan of aftertaste.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was 3 for me. I was like, oh. And I was like, oh.
Right.
So it's like a 2-tasted bourbon or
Right.
2-tasted rye. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Some of these, I don't know about specifically us, but some of these ryes that are coming out nowadays are really high ryes, right? What they're 80,
Oh, yeah.
90. I mean, they're really high.
Yeah, in the 90% range even.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like we've talked about before, almost every whiskey uses a barley. And that just simply helps the breakdown of the starches, with the yeast. And so that just helps it start. And then it's what else it is, whether it's a rye or a wheat or
Right.
bourbon with most corn.
And the weeded bourbons tend to be really mellow, too. A lot
sure.
of people like those weeded bourbons.
sure, yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do we have to figure out a tie break method? And be honest, pick what you like.
Yeah, looks like we got a draw, boys.
Nice, I like it. Picking my side.
I agree with Dan with what he said about 1. I like that. The aftertaste, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I like the wood. I like that. The char, the wood brings out the flavors. So I like 3. So looks like we got to figure out a.
Yeah, we do.
Point system?
Could wrestle.
Yeah, I don't know.
Are we gonna do rock, paper, scissors?
I think wrestling would be good.
Wrestle?
Yeah, we just move the piece of furniture out. And
Oh, so
I
two
think,
people that did the
we're gonna
wand
turn
would be-
we're gonna turn a
got two of
podcast
those.
into like a UFC fight.
I think Todd and Ty, the 2 T's, got to wrestle
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah, right. Look at them.
Oh wait, they actually picked the same
Oh, I
thing.
thought me and you would
He's like
be
twice
tag
as
team.
strong as I am.
Me too.
I've got some history though. I went to state in wrestling, so
Did you really?
I have a little bit of a background in wrestling. Yeah.
Oh crap.
Wisconsin?
Yeah. I took first in conference, first in regionals, first in sectionals. went to state and I won 2 and lost 2. So,
Congratulations.
but to be fair, when I was a senior in high school, I was 130 pounds. But most people were, so there was quite a pool of people at the same weight. So, I mean,
that's awesome.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I mean, I'm okay wrestling if we have to.
Yeah, we can take it.
Josh, me and you.
All right, so we're back. We're gonna find out what is gonna advance.
Yeah, why don't we just describe where we're gonna bring them out, 1 and 3. So we got 1 and 3 over here. If you want to describe this, Todd.
Yeah. So, glass 1 is a Templeton Rye single barrel. This is a 95 proof, and I don't see an age statement. It is a single barrel select, which I got it at a local liquor store. So it was a store pick. So yeah, straight rye whiskey, limited release.
What'd you pay for that?
I'm sorry?
Would you pay for that?
$42. And I don't know what number 3.
And that's what me and you, Josh, right?
Yeah.
You picked that one?
Yeah, for sure.
Way to go, bro.
Yeah, we know what we like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you guys pick a Jim Beam product? Is that what you picked?
We picked a Jim Beam Rye pre-prohibition style. It is a 90 proof. Maybe it was the lower proof.
Do you guys want a Diet Coke to go with that?
You got one?
Hey, I always put my rye on Diet Coke.
What are we picking? Heads or tails?
What's the cheaper bottle? I was always told if you're between two things, what's the cheaper option?
I think the Jim Beam would be a cheaper option.
What does the pre-prohibition style mean to it? That's what it says in the bottle.
Yeah.
What is that?
Well, I don't know for sure. I know with like Old Forester, the pre-prohibition is probably a little more just stronger flavoring. Like the 1920 has more proof to it. I mean, that being said, though, this pre-prohibition style, this thing's a 90 proof, and the Templeton Rye, what did we say? It was 96.
Yeah.
So, as far as that goes, I don't know what.
I could take my vote out, seeing I'm not a rye aficionado at all. I could take my vote out.
No, I want to see what this happens. So we're gonna pick. What do you want to pick?
Tails for tea.
Tails for tea. It's heads, so the Templeton Rye will advance.
I really wanted that Jim Beam just to, kind of run away with everything.
I am so surprised. We have some really high-priced options that lost out to some really cheaper options.
So you're saying, Todd, in your point of view, the cheapest product at the table, the Jim Beam, beat out your other $100 bottles
Yeah.
in this.
And I think what it is the corn coming through. Like, the least it ages is, and to your point, you're not a big fan of ryes,
Right.
and maybe I'm not as well if I'm picking something that I'm picking more of a corn flavor coming through than the rye. Because the least something is aged, you're dealing with more of the distillate, which is a sweeter option.
But that happened in the last episode as well, right? Wasn't
Correct.
it 16 year to 10 or something?
So
Yeah.
Todd, before this started, you said if this one was in the mix, it would win. Which one was that?
Oh, it was not part of this.
Oh, it was not part of it.
It was not
And
part
then
of
one
it.
of my favorite products is a Whistle Pig 12, and that was a potential to be chosen. And in my opinion, if that was picked, that would have ran away with it. So both of us have something that didn't make this that would have ran away in both of our opinions.
I agree. I'm almost tempted to go get it, crack it open,
And then-
pour us each one, but that takes away from this experiment, in a way.
Yeah.
But so I think we do have to kind of stick by with what
It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm all right with where we landed.
Your Jim Beam and Diet Coke is just fine.
I thought it was Jim Beam Diet Coke and had some water, right?
Yeah.
With 3 ice cubes.
Yeah, 3
Yeah.
ice cubes.
Well, I'm going to stop the harassment and just close this one out and say thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we will see you next week. So it's Jim Beam Rye.
You know what I will say? I have bought this bottle, but gifted it to somebody. I have bought this bottle.
I can't believe Jim Beam's gonna beat a fucking whistle.
That's good. With a twist top.
Assholes. I can't believe that. I picked one as being like, I don't know if I like it or not, and I'm thinking it might be this one. And then I end up picking that one to win.
That's the problem. You're thinking,
He goes into the microphone to say it.
hey, Todd,
They've been
thanks so
rolling.
much.
They've been rolling. That's your problem, you're thinking.